Hey, welcome back to Evil's Comics. This guy right here is Evil Mike, and I got a review for you today. From Boom Studios, we're going to be talking about Specs issue number 3. It is written by David M. Booher, art by Chris Shehan, colors by Roman Stevens, and letters by Jim Campbell. I did find out something interesting at the end of this series that I wasn't aware of, but I'll let you know at the end. We'll talk about it. Before I get started on the review, please like, comment, subscribe. That helps this channel immensely, especially the comments, the likes, the subscribes, all that stuff. Come on. So here we are with Specs. We're following the story of Ted and Kenny and their magical pair of specs. Whatever you wish, you see. In the very first issue, they wished away a bully skunk, and they are dealing with the repercussions ever since then. At this moment, Ted is being accused of the murder of Skunk, even though we as the viewers know that that's not what happened. Oh, excuse me. But the book starts out right where the second book left off. The cops were dragging Ted to jail for the interrogation. And that's where we started off with. We're greeted by just a mob crowd of angry people that are instantly just on the opposite fence of this situation, where they just all believe that this kid, killed this other kid, and they're screaming things like murder, killer, put him in the lethal injection, kind of thing. We catch up with Kenny, and he's just distraught. He's making it home. His mom's like, "Hey, have you talked to?" She's like, yelling out some things as he's running up. He goes upstairs to grab the comic where they saw the Magic Specs ad for, and he grabs the comic and heads out the window. We see he goes to a payphone, and he's trying to call the company where the Magic Specs came from, but of course the line's disconnected. But he does get an address somewhere in Ohio. It's Hobart, Ohio, so he hops on a bus and he heads that way. They do show us what's going on with Ted at the interrogation, at the police station. But basically they just left him in the room, and it's like hours and hours. It shows us between like 5 hours that they've had him in the room just waiting. Back over here, Kenny is found it's like a warehouse building, and he hops a fence, breaks in, hoping and expecting to find something. Of course, when he gets inside, there's nothing but, empty boxes and stuff. And for some reason, he decides to put on the specs. When he puts on the specs, all of a sudden, he makes a wish. And he makes a wish that there was some way he could help Ted. And when he does, the specs light up, and then instantly he sees this. It's a door. And he says this part of the story he didn't really believe. He said, let me word it right. He says, "I still don't really believe it myself. It's like I said, time strips the flesh off your memories and grinds their bones to dust." And he says this is the dust. After he's, walks to the door, he's greeted with the situation with this girl looking out a window, and she kind of looks like this. And she basically is telling her story of how she came across the specs, and she states that she was in high school, she was this nobody. It was her senior year. No one ever noticed her, and she was one of those kids that watched the other kids having fun. And then she got the specs, and she made the wishes, and all of a sudden she was homecoming queen, and she got a boyfriend, and but she was saying that the Magic Specs eventually take, they let you do the wishes, but eventually you got to pay the price. And her price was at, after prom, and this glorious moments that she was, she couldn't stop wishing. And even when they put the crown on her head, she wished that, she'd never be forgotten. And supposedly after the prom, her date takes her out to a pond, a quarry, and he drowns her, and then that way technically she never gets forgotten. Everybody always remembers the girl that drowned after prom. And they do show her in the water down here. But she basically states that this has happened for a long time. And Kenny kind of suggests that he'll try and break the chain, and she's like, there's no way. The Specs have been going for longer than you know, and they show all these other people that have done the exact same thing. And she explains that the Specs looks for desperate people just like them, that the magic glasses know that they'll make the wishes because their lives are that, pathetic and kind of thing. And and basically it says you can't stop yourself. And it goes back over to like Kenny thinking about Ted, and a door all of a sudden appears, and he sees like, Ted with his head down in the interrogation room. And from this moment on, we're just in the interrogation room with Ted, and it's basically the officer, and he's talking about like, DNA and how they found the knife with the blood, and how like a janitor saw Ted, Kenny, and Skunk go in the woods, but Skunk didn't come out. Ted, of course, stating the obvious, I'm innocent, you're already profiling me, what can I do, kind of thing. As this is going on, they give us a scene where it's like we can kind of see, Kenny over here as he's watching what's going down with Ted, and eventually he does make a wish, as we see right here, and he just wishes that he was with Ted, and when he does that, the window breaks, and he comes through. It's like, and the scene is freaking cool right here. After that, he grabs Ted, because they're all kind of like discombobulated. And he ends up grabbing Ted. They run out and somehow make it past the crowd as they're being like, jostled left and right and stuff. But he does say that they make it home. They don't know how they made it home, but they do make it home. And basically, they sit there and they're like waiting for the cops and the town and everybody to come after them. And as they're sitting there waiting for the town to come after them, they both come up with the idea to burn the Specs. And Ted is definitely like on board with this, and the last scene they show us is this, and it's just them hugging, and Ted being like, oh yeah, let's burn them glasses. And it gives us his right here, and it says to be concluded. That's what I mentioned in the very beginning of this. It seems like it's only going to be a 4-part series. I thought it was going to be an ongoing, or at least a little longer, so I'm a little surprised that we're only getting 4 issues. Which isn't a bad thing. I'm not saying it like it's a bad thing. Sometimes it's a good thing. A short story is excellent, you know what I'm saying? But this is definitely what I was waiting for. I don't know about you, but I've been waiting for the horror aspect of the story. It was in the synopsis of the book. And it's been one of the things that has been missing for me, and now we're starting to see a little bit of that. Getting some more background lore into the glasses, getting to see like one of the afflicted, patriots, and still it seems like they're still connected to the glasses as well. I don't know, but that's the review. Let me know your thoughts on this book. Are you still loving it? I know a lot of people are liking it a lot more than I'm liking it. I like it, but it's more in the middle column for me. It hasn't propelled to that, oh my god, this is amazing. And there are some stories that hit that mark for me. But it's definitely not in the bad column either. It's way better than that. Especially in this episode, the art in this issue was definitely like standout compared to the first 2 issues. I don't know if I'm the only one that noticed that, but there was some definite upgrades to the art in some of these scenes, specifically with that scene where he's like crashing through the window. I thought that was really dope. I don't know. That's my review. That's my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts down below. What are you feeling about this series? Did you pass it up? Should you have gone back and get it after hearing this review? Let me know down below. Alright guys, I'll see you later. More reviews coming. Bye!